America, we got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, welcome this Tuesday. I'll start like this. I was wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things, but I was wrong about one thing that I want to get into today. First off, an apology. I look like shit. Haven't shaved in a few days. I'll shave. I'll shower. I'll clean myself up. I'll get over my despondency of this past week. I promise you I will. And I know I've been in a dark mood for much of the past week, but look at me. I think I have a rainbow behind me today. I wanted to put something behind me that would brighten up my dark mood so that even though what I'm about to tell you may be kind of dark, I got a rainbow. I got a pretty picture behind me. So think of that pretty picture and look at that pretty picture. Hello, TikTok. Start like this. I was wrong. I was wrong about something that this country really needs to wake up to quickly. Because what happened a week ago proves that we're up against something all of us who believe in tolerance and all of us who believe in freedom and all of us who believe in the rule of law and constitution and decency and truth, we're up against something now that really needs to be reckoned with. Because I was wrong. I've said repeatedly that the Republican Party, Trump's Republican Party, is a cult. He's the cult leader. And the people in Trump's base, his most hardcore supporters, they are members of a cult. For them, Trump can do no wrong. He can say no wrong. He could shoot somebody in the middle of New York City, wouldn't matter, because he's their leader and he's going to lead them to their promised land. And there's a lot of truth in that. In fact, that is true. Trump's most loyal supporters, die-hard supporters, they are members of a cult. And as far as they're concerned, Donald Trump is their cult leader. And they believe Trump is going to lead them to this promised land, which is why, again, Trump can do no wrong. Can say no wrong, can do no wrong. They'll never criticize him because he's taking them there. He's taking them to the promised land. But because of that, because the Republican Party base, primarily middle-aged and older white folk who clung to Trump, 8 years ago, Trump was their revenge. He was their retribution. He was their punch in the face to everything that they felt was wrong in America. I've said repeatedly that because of this, the Republican Party is a shrinking, dying national political party. I've said that repeatedly over the last few years. Yeah, Trump has his hardcore base. He's got his cult followers, but they're primarily middle-aged and older white folk, and middle-aged and older white folk, like middle-aged and older black folk and middle-aged and older brown folk. Eventually, the old folk die off, and the Republican Party was not going to replace the older white folk dying off with younger people and people of color. The party, I thought, this cult that Trump's Republican Party had become, I thought, was a shrinking, dying national political party. And Trump's victory in 2016 didn't change any of that in my mind. Trump's victory in 2016 was a weird fluke. A weird fluke. Hillary was a lousy candidate. Hillary was the establishment politician. Donald Trump was the disruptor, and he barely beat her. And for 4 years, Trump gave us utter incompetency and chaos and danger and hate. And so I kept saying, because I kept believing, Trump's party, this Republican Party, is a shrinking, dying national political party. It'll go the way of the Whigs. It'll become a strong rural political party. I'd always felt until a week ago. Until a week ago. What happened a week ago proved that for now, I was wrong. I was wrong. This Republican Party, Trump's Republican Party, that for the past 7 or 8 years has been a cult, a true believing cult, a MAGA cult, is no longer just a cult. It is now a full-fledged political party. It may shrink and die again one day, but no. This political party now, this Republican political party now, has moved beyond just a cult. Many more people voted for Donald Trump than just his hardcore cult members. More women voted for Trump. More young people voted for Trump. More Latinos voted for Trump. More people in urban areas voted for Trump. More people in suburban areas voted for Donald Trump. What happened a week ago moved this Republican Party beyond just a MAGA cult and moved this, what was a MAGA cult, moved it back to a full-fledged major political party in America. Still a party that's dangerous, but a party that now really needs to be reckoned with. A party now that may not shrink and die in the near future. A party now that may no longer just consist of middle-aged older white folk who live out in the country. 2016 was all about Trump. It was all about Trump. And it was a fluke. It was in many ways an aberration. 2024, what happened a week ago, is about Trumpism. Is about what this Republican Party now is permanently. This is a scary thought, America, for those of us who oppose what this Republican Party is. It's now a full-fledged political party, and more people are joining it. It is still a political party that is intolerant. It is a political party that is nationalistic. It is a political party that, if they could, they would build a wall around America and keep people out and keep America out of the rest of the world. It is a political party that wants to deport people. It is a political party that wants to declare war on transgender Americans. It is a political party that wants to go after speech it does not like or approve of. The point is, it's a political party now. It's not just some fringe cult. It was And that cultish aspect is still there. But it moved beyond a MAGA cult because a lot of people voted for the MAGA platform. Trump became normalized. Donald Trump a week ago became normalized. Understand what I'm saying? Trump is still the horrible human being he is. He's still the pathological liar. He's still ignorant. He's still cruel. He's still hateful. He's still a divisive figure. He still believes he's above the law. He still wants to be a dictator. He still tried to overthrow an American election. He still is capable of acting only in his own interest. He's still a thoroughly, utterly horrible human being. But a majority of Americans voted for that. So that became normalized. A lot of people voted for Donald Trump who are not members of a cult. That's the difference, right? The basis of Trump's support in 2016 was it was a cult, and most everybody who voted for him, they were members of a cult. We've moved well beyond that now. A lot of people voted for him who are not members of a cult. They know who and what Trump is. They just really don't care about any of that. They care about other things. This election moved Trump's Republican Party from a MAGA cult to now a MAGA political party. It's never going back to a freedom party. It's never going back to a party that believes in free speech, free trade, free markets. It's never going back to Ronald Reagan's America is a shining city on a hill party. It's never going back to NATO is good, America is the indispensable leader around the world party. It ain't never going back to that. The point I'm making, though, is it is now a political party. It's now something to be reckoned with. It's now not this thing that Democrats and the rest of you can just dismiss and say it's just crazy ass Trump and his crazy ass base, and eventually they're all going to be gone. It's no longer that. Not when you got a bunch of young people voting for the MAGA platform. Not when you have a bunch of, a majority of Latino men voting for the MAGA platform. Not when you have a bunch of independents and Nikki Haley Republicans who can't stand Donald Trump, but they voted for him. The GOP is now MAGA permanently. Now, where I stand and sit permanently, that's a bad thing. But the point of this discussion right now, this Tuesday, is you better wake up, America, because we have two major political parties. And what happened last week, I guess that's one way of looking at it. Hello, TikTok. I guess that's one way of looking at it. 2 weeks ago, a week before the election, we had one major political party, the Democratic Party, and we had this one anti-democratic MAGA cult. And I guess what I'm saying now is what happened last week. We have one major political party, the Democratic Party, and now we have a second major political party, the Republican Party again, which is fully an anti-democratic political party, but it's now a political party. So going to be much tougher to defeat because it's no longer just some fringe cult. So many arrogant Democrats who've spent the last 5 or 6 years just like laughing at this thing, Trump, MAGA, laughing at him, can no longer do that because they beat you a week ago and they increased the size of their army pretty dramatically. And a lot of people didn't vote for you, Democrats. They voted for what this is. We've got 2 major political parties in America. And one of them is fully anti-democracy. And that party won on Tuesday. But it is a political party that won. And for the moment, it's a growing political party. Everybody, as we've said endlessly, and I'm so tired of saying this, everybody knew who and what they were voting for last week. They knew it. They knew the person they were voting for, the lawless, un-American psychopath that Trump is, but they knew the platform they were voting for. It was out there for all to see. We're going to deport 15 million people in this country illegally. We're going to declare war on transgender Americans. We're going to help Putin and turn our back on Ukraine. We're going to get out of NATO. We're going to build a wall around America. We're going to use government to impose MAGA philosophy on higher education and all the rest. We're going to use government to go after the left. Everything that Trump has promised to do, a whole bunch of people voted for that. A whole bunch of people, here we go, who were not Trump cultists. Yeah, the Trump cultists, my former friends, my former supporters, good people, they're members of a cult, good people, they're still there. But people beyond that cult bought what Trump was selling. We're okay with what Trump was selling. This means, and by the way, ain't going to be no third party to the rescue. Who am I? I'm part of the Never Trumper movement. Hell, there are like 13 of us, right? What the hell are we going to do? You're right about that, MAGA. Forget about some Never Trumper movement saving you. There are 2 games in town. And Democrats, you've been under this illusion now for 8 years that you're up against a batshit crazy movement, Democrats. That's what you rightly thought. And it is a batshit, un-American, crazy-ass movement. But you just thought it was, you could smack it around, right? Because you beat it in 2020. You beat it in the midterms in 2018. You beat it, Democrats, in the midterms in 2022. But oh my God, Democrats, this thing over here rose up in 2024. They grew before your very eyes and they beat you. Democrats have to confront this. You're no longer up against some cult. That's it. This fringe MAGA crazy cult. Democrats, you're up against a political party now that has incorporated all of that platform. And that political party is growing. because of that platform. Because of that platform. It's like Trump's the backlash, right? It's like Democrats, you went so far over here, along comes Trump with the backlash. It's like Democrats, you ignored immigration for so long. Here comes your deportation. It's like Democrats, all you did was talk about woke transgender stuff for so long. Here comes the war on transgenders, transgender Americans. I'm with you, Democrats, in that what this is an ugly, dangerous reaction, backlash to the perceived extreme woke agenda that you led. Now we are going to get an extreme agenda of hate, cruelty, and intolerance. What happened last Tuesday? It saddens me to say this. Like, Trump was normalized. Trump got the ultimate stamp of approval. He was validated. 2016 wasn't a one-off. You hear me? That's what happened. Now he's a thing. It's a thing. And it's a growing thing. And you're going to see all the Republicans now on board. All the Republicans, all the Nikki Haley voters, all of these people now. There will be no opposition. We're back to two political parties. We're back to two political parties on equal footing. Democrats, wake up. You're no longer up against just some crazy little cult. We've got two political parties now on equal footing. Two political parties of equal strength. And right now, one of those political parties is growing, Democratic Party, and it's not yours. It's not yours. And I'm with you. I'm still with you, Democrats, because what my former party has become is, in my mind, still ugly, dangerous, and utterly un-American. Consider this, my Democratic friends, just a friendly warning. Got to get your act together now, because it's now a political party again. It's for the foreseeable future. I was wrong. This Republican Party is not going to shrink and die and go away. It's being added to. Again, I'll leave you on this one with this thought. 8 years ago and even 4 years ago, people were ashamed. I thought it was a good thing, ashamed to say that they supported Donald Trump. Because remember, Trump is an utterly horrible human being. I know people wanted to vote for him, but they were ashamed to say it. Well, here we are now in 2024. Trump remains an utterly horrible human being, but people are no longer ashamed to say it. He's got more mainstream celebrities and well-known people now signing on. And yeah, it bums me out to the high heavens that these more well-known people and all of these people who do not consider themselves to be Trump cult members, that they don't give a damn that he's a pathological liar. They don't give a damn that he's above the law. They don't give a damn that he tried to overthrow an American election. That bums me out like you wouldn't believe, but that came and went. They still voted for him. 2024, a week ago, showed now that this Republican Party, still a dangerous party, is now a party again, a political party again. And it needs to be reckoned with. That needs to be reckoned with. You can no longer laugh at it, America. You can no longer dismiss it, America. You can no longer try to not even bother to understand it, America. You best understand it because they're on equal footing with you, America, and they're trying to imprint an America that is antithetical to you and me. But now your job is to defeat it at the ballot box. To defeat it at the ballot box, you now need to make the effort to understand it, understand why you lost to this now growing political party, and what you have to do to defeat it, what we have to do to defeat it. Hey, now let me give you just a wee bit of good news. Now let me give you a wee bit of good news. This wasn't no landslide. This weren't no landslide. Trump didn't win in a landslide. There's no big mandate. MAGA, sit down. Barely half the country, maybe not even half of the people who voted for Trump. Can we just stop right here and drop a truth bomb? Donald Trump did not win in a landslide. He barely won. In the grand scheme of what all the elections, presidential elections we've had in this country over the years, his victory a week ago is in the lower half of all the elections won. Republicans gained a majority in the Senate, not a huge majority. We don't know who's going to control the House yet. Whoever controls the House will barely have a majority. Donald Trump, when all is said and done, may win this election, the popular vote, by maybe 1%. Maybe 1%. He may still not even win the popular vote, right? All the votes are being counted. But if he does win the popular vote, maybe he'll win by 1%. He may not even hit 50%. Maybe 49.7% of Americans will have ended up voting for him, and maybe 48.8% of Americans will have voted for Kamala Harris. So if you care about the popular vote, man, this again was a tie. And when it comes to the Electoral College, this wasn't, Democrats, chin up, perk up. Come on, this wasn't a landslide. Trump won with what, 312 electoral votes? Excuse me. Again, that ranks down in the bottom half electorally of all presidential elections. Barack Obama won with 365 electoral votes in 08. He won with 332 electoral votes in 12. Biden, 4 years ago, 306 electoral votes. That wasn't no landslide. My God, go back to 1996. Remember, Donald Trump may end up winning by 1 point. Bill Clinton in 96 won by 9 points. Ronald Reagan in 1984 won by 18 points. Democrats, and by the way, MAGA, MAGA is screaming about some freaking landslide and some freaking mandate. Bullshit. This is an equally divided country. Just about half the country voted against Trump, and just about half the country voted for Trump. By the way, I need to throw this in. I need to slide this in here. Let's get rid of the Electoral College. Let's just get rid of it. So many Democrats in overwhelmingly blue states didn't even come out and vote because their vote doesn't count, right? And way more of them didn't vote than Republicans in red states because Republicans were more fired up. We're at a point now where almost, right, I think this is what we should do. If we're going to keep the Electoral College, then forget about the rest of the country every 4 years. Let's just have just people who live in these 7 battleground states should vote. Maybe that's what we should do. The popular vote is now almost meaningless because people who live in all blue or all red states, a lot of them don't even bother to vote. So what does the popular vote then nationwide mean? Why don't we just, like 4 years from now in the 2020 election, why don't we just allow people in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona vote for president? Why don't we just do that? If we're going to keep the Electoral College, I think we should get rid of it. But if we're going to keep the Electoral College, makes sense to me, TikTok. Let's just let people in those battleground states vote. They decided who the president was. Nobody in California decided. Nobody in Texas decided. Nobody in my home state of Illinois decided. Nobody in Florida decided. Nobody in any other state but those 7 states decided who the president was. That's the way it was in 2020. That's the way it was in 2016. That's the way it was in 2012. You want me to keep going? That's the way it's going to be in 2028. In 2028, we'll have another election for president, and only the Americans who live in those 7 states will decide who that president will be. So why don't we let's have them vote, just them? My vote in Illinois doesn't mean squat. Oh no, I think I just got flagged for something on TikTok. I have the hardest time staying on TikTok. I hope this doesn't get me kicked off of TikTok. If I could, I'd get rid of the Electoral College. We're not there, but I'm just thinking, why? Maybe that's what we should do. But in the time being, why not just let the people in the battleground states vote? And I'll get into that more later. My overall point, though, is this: this wasn't a landslide. There's not some big mandate for Trump to do whatever he wants. Trump won half the country. So, like, if you win half the country, barely half the country, that means you can do whatever you want. Hello? Seriously? He might not have even won half the country, but let's assume that 50% of the country voted for Trump. Let's assume that that's where his number ends up. Like 50% of the people voted for Trump and 49.2% of the people voted for Harris. So because of that, Trump can do whatever he wants? Hell no. He doesn't have a mandate. This wasn't a landslide. What Bill Clinton did in 96 was a landslide. What Barack Obama did in 08 was a landslide. What Ronald Reagan did back in my day in 84, that there was a landslide. So perk up, Dems. Pick up, Dems. I know you're as down as I am because a bad, horrible guy won. An enemy of this country won. But pick ourselves up. He barely won. This is a divided country. Half of the country didn't vote for him. So let's figure it out. But just know, as I led this show, and I'm ending, Keith, know as I led this show, know what you're up against now. What happened a week ago made it official. This is now a MAGA political party, and it moved well beyond his MAGA base. A lot of people in 2024 joined that MAGA political party. So it is a full-fledged, growing political party that now needs to be understood if it is to be defeated. Wrong! You're wrong as usual, Joe. You're boring me. You're boring me. I don't understand why people, maybe it's the way I look. I know I'm a really good-looking guy, but why would you spend 30 minutes listening to me if you're bored? Call me, Joe. Joe, go back to your mommy's basement. I'm offended by that, my friend. My mother died 5 years ago. Hey, hope you're having a good week. Send me an email about anything you want. joewalshwhiteflag@gmail.com. All one word. joewalshwhiteflag@gmail.com. Hang tough. I'm trying to pick myself up. Be brave out there. Be brave.
Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract.